One thing that we've talked an awful lot about is the temperature versus the Brix in the grape. What are Brix?
Brix are a direct correlation between percentage of sugar. So at a general harvest time, we can expect for, say, Vidal, the same grapes that we're pressing right now, we can expect those Vidal grapes to have about 22% sugar, or 22 Brix. That 22 Brix itself, when the grapes are frozen, the berries themselves become frozen like little marbles. You're freezing all of the available water inside of that berry, extracting only the juice. So those berries themselves, as they're yielding their juice, the Brix is concentrated and increases relative to the temperature decreasing. So the colder the temperature, the more water freezes inside of the berry. The more water freezes inside of the berry, the higher the sugar concentration, or Brix.
You tell me that it takes about 2 hours to press one of these baskets. Why so long? Why can't the press just exert that force and just do it in 2 or 3 minutes and boom, it's done?
The most important aspect of pressing the fruit itself is that you're going to get your yield, the extraction of the fruit, the juice itself. You're going to get as much juice out of those berries as possible. And if you're just to quickly exert a pressure on the berries themselves, what they end up doing is just kind of shunting the ability for the juice to use the berries as channels to pass through themselves. So if I just squeeze it immediately, it would basically stop. So the berries themselves, if you can imagine just a small little cavities amongst the berries, that's allowing the pathways for the juice to escape the press itself. And so with a very slow amount of pressure, it's just going to allow all of that juice to meander out, and we'll be able to extract all of the juice from the press itself.
And so over a 2 hour period, will all the berries in there stay frozen?
Yeah, they'll absolutely stay frozen. The mass itself is right now sitting at minus 11.5 degrees. That mass itself just basically insulates itself, and it will take a tremendously long time for those berries to actually warm up again. And even if you just set them on the floor in here, the inside core of that mass would be minus 11 degrees for probably another 3 or 4 days at least. So let's go take a look at that. Enjoy.
It absolutely looks, and when you watch it come out of the barrel, it looks like maple syrup at this point in time.
You're absolutely correct.
What it's a really neat smell. It's somewhere between syrupy and sugary, but also almost like fermented on the vine too. It's got that sort of
Slightly oxidative.
Yeah.
But I always find the aromas of the juice at this stage very exotic. You can really begin to see some of the tropical notes, some of the citrusy characteristics that you can begin to realize in the final wine.
That's cold. It's so good. In fact, the flavor is very different from the nose, and I don't even know how to explain the flavor. It's
well, aromatics are also very dependent upon temperature. So when something is actually minus 11 degrees, all of its aromas you can expect to be very, very muted and very closed. And so as this juice warms up, and you can try this a little later on in the morning, you can begin to see how the aromas will begin to develop the warmer the temperature of the juice is.
Is the process from here to the bottle exactly the same now that you would do with a regular harvest?
The process virtually mirrors the next steps of winemaking, and we begin to add a cultured yeast to this particular wine now. The difference being, with the very high rate of sugar, the very high amount of sugar, there's something, it's called osmotic pressure. The osmotic pressure exerted on the yeast cell from the juice itself actually creates a very difficult environment for the yeast to actually ferment the juice inside of the ice wine. And so fermentation takes a much longer period of time. So normally we can expect fermentation for the general harvest to be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. It's not uncommon for us to have ice wine fermenting for as long as 4 months.